Investigates is probing St. Louis police tonight as we mark 1 year of the department sliding back under state control. Police say hiring challenges remain, and the same is true across the region. Tonight, the debate over how to fix staffing is expanding. First Alert 4 investigator David Amalotti reports one of Missouri's top leaders says consolidating many police departments could be the answer.
St. Louis police keep saying they need more officers and they need more money to pay them. How would police consolidation help this region compete?
We have too many people in leadership and not enough on patrol. There are 54 police chiefs in St. Louis County. I don't know what the right number is, but it's way smaller than that. If we could get that down to half that number, that'd be 25 more patrolmen minimum, and probably more like 75 more patrolmen in the region on the streets.
You're not suggesting that maybe St. Louis Metropolitan Police and St. Louis County Police could consolidate. You're saying these smaller muni police departments need to consolidate.
Yep, and work together. And I think the city and county can work together on things like a training center. We're going to have a regional training center, but St. Louis City isn't part of it. That seems crazy to me.
The idea of consolidating the smaller police departments in the St. Louis region is a debate that goes back years. Law enforcement leaders right now tell me the focus needs to be on coordination between the existing departments. On the 1-year anniversary of Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe making his appointments for the St. Louis City Police Board, I asked the governor and Police Chief Robert Tracy for their take. How would consolidation help regional law enforcement?
You're getting way above my pay grade on that. We work with all the municipalities. We work with St. Louis County. We work with the State Department of Public Safety, with Missouri Highway Patrol. We even talk with Kansas City and into Illinois. We got to make sure through intelligence and sharing operations, because this is a regional issue. So we keep the communication open, have great relationships with all those other leaders, and that's what we're going to continue to do, and that's why this region is getting safer.
What do you think about, consolidating police?
Well, from a business perspective, it doesn't make sense to me, but the reality is this is where we are. I would credit not just the board, but the chief and other chiefs from around the area to make sure that they work together on information sharing, how they control crime, what they can do to help together, because crime is a regional issue.
Hanaway tells me if she were in the state legislature right now, there's just no two ways about it. She would be working very hard to make consolidation happen. She says she knows that's outside of the lane for the AG, but says it's important for this region to be more strategic about a long-term public safety structure. In the newsroom, David Amalotti, First Alert 4 investigates.